all the debate out there right now in markets, in Washington, and everywhere in between right now is about inflation. Is it long lasting or is it transitory? When you look at the latest data that we have out there right now, and maybe some of the data that isn't making it to the large headline numbers here, what type of inflationary pressures are you seeing, and do you see them as being a little bit more permanent?
Yeah, I mean, I think that when I look at the data, what I think mostly this looks like are the growing pains of an economy that's emerging from a pandemic and reopening. And we see a lot of idiosyncratic pressures and supply chain issues and backlogs and that sort of stuff. So I think by and large, what it looks like to me is the kind of thing that, frankly, we anticipated, right, coming out of the pandemic. And so it's pretty hard for me to see the kinds of things that I think you would need to be in place in order to get the sort of entrenched inflation that begins to feed on itself. So I guess I situate myself pretty squarely in the transitory camp.
Yeah, and there's certainly an element of the inflationary pressures we have that were certainly predictable, given just how volatile the economic crisis was, the COVID crisis, and how volatile things have been coming out of it here. But as we sort of get to the other side of this economic cycle, there's a lot of debate right now about additional fiscal spending, additional fiscal stimulus, whatever you want to call it. Is it just throwing another log on the fire of an economy that's already hot, or is this something that maybe has a place here in our policy and in the way we spend government money?
Well, I think it's the latter. I think that most of what we're hearing about right now, right, we're hearing about maybe a $3.5 trillion human infrastructure bill coming maybe alongside the more traditional so-called hard infrastructure. And I don't think the administration is thinking of this as stimulus. I'm certainly not thinking of this as stimulus. I'm thinking of this more the way I think they are, which is, doing things that will strengthen some of the fragility that's been baked into our system by, longstanding policy decisions. We're trying to redress some things, fix some of the deficits in the real economy, and lay a foundation for a really sustainable and inclusive recovery. So I think they're looking at this as an opportunity to strengthen the social safety net, make investments in things like education and healthcare, just places where we have underinvested for decades.